everybody, it is Katie here, and it is that good old time of the week again, where we talk about Shadowhunters. So episode 9 was fun, and by fun I mean everyone was having a really shit time. Name one person that didn't suffer in this episode. Honestly, these poor characters, I swear to God. So in this episode, bound by blood, that blood oath comes back to haunt Clary. At the start of the episode, she gets struck down by this blackened hand that takes over. Simon and Jace take her to Magnus, where he informs Clary that this is the blood oath taking effect, and if Clary doesn't find Madsy as promised, this magic will continue spreading to her heart and kill her. Not gonna lie, that hand really just reminded me of Dumbledore. That was all I could think of every time I saw Clary's hand. Half-Blood Prince is still ruining my life. So obviously Clary is left with no choice but to go and find Madsy. She teams up with both Jace and Simon, even though you can tell that they really don't want to work together, but they're doing it for the sake of Clary. So whilst we're on that topic, let's talk about the three of them, because throughout this episode there was a lot of awkward tension between them. Clary and Simon are a couple now, and obviously Jace is having a hard time coming to terms with that, but he can't show that he's jealous because, you know, Clary's his sister, and that's awkward. Please, can we end this storyline now? I can't take it anymore, I just can't. At the start of the episode, when Jace walks in on Simon and Clary, although I find the climbing stuff pretty uncomfortable, I did find that scene quite hilarious. When Jace is like, "What do you think you're doing?" I don't know, Jace, what does it look like? I mean, it's not as if Clary's literally just thrown Simon's shirt at you or anything. Poor Jace. He's not coping very well with this, is he? Throughout the episode, Clary gets progressively weaker, so Jace decides that he has to go off and find Madsy on his own, and he asks Simon to keep Clary safe. Simon is worried about this because earlier on in the episode, he failed doing just that. At the very start of the episode, we had Maya attacking Clary. Clary is outside at the time during the day, so Simon can't run out and help her because he's burnt. So you can tell that that has an effect on him and it's weighing down on him. He doesn't think that he can protect Clary as well as Jace can. But I would like to mention that Clary dealt with that herself. I mean, Jace saw what was going on and ran over, but Clary had already smacked Maya off with that oar. You know, she doesn't need saving, she can do this stuff herself. Simon, chill. Jace, calm down. But anyway, she has trouble later on in the episode, obviously because of this magic making its way to her heart. Jace disappears on Simon despite promising to stay behind, and so Simon keeps watch over Clary. This little conversation that the two of them had, it was really sweet, because whilst they have moved forward romantically in their relationship, their friendship is still there and they're still acting like best friends. So I really like that little talk between them. That little Fault in Our Stars reference was hilarious. Oh, Simon, why are you like this? So Jace finds Valentine and Madsy in a little cafe. There is this really tense scene between them where Jace informs Valentine of this blood oath that Clary took. Obviously Valentine needs Clary alive, so he hands Madsy over to Jace. I really think scenes between Jace and Valentine are really great because they have this sort of tense relationship that just could go either way, and I love how much Jace doesn't back down in front of him or show fear or anything. So I think Dom and Alan did a really good job with the scene. Jace turns up and reunites Madsy with Clary, so this dark magic spell wears off and Clary is okay again. But then Madsy opens a portal, her and Clary go through it. Well, damn Madsy, okay. Earlier on in the episode we had this scene with Dorothea. Obviously Valentine's been keeping her prisoner and making her do magic for him. She's been weakened now by the injections that he keeps giving her. She can't do the spells that he wants her to do anymore. So he brings up the idea of her training Madsy, which obviously Dorothea won't want to do, but she has no choice really. But even though we had gotten that scene earlier on, I did not expect Madsy to open the portal at the end there. I was betrayed by Madsy. So Jace and Simon managed to track Clary to where Valentine is keeping her. This warehouse with all the fairground rides in is absolutely terrifying. Valentine looks very sinister with his little warlock child in this place. Also that creepy little tune that we get whenever Madsy is on screen. That did not help. with regards to the creepy atmosphere that this place had to offer. So yeah, that was very sinister, but I liked it. It looks good. Simon, like I said, has probably been feeling insecure about how he can't protect Clary as well as he wants to. So at this scene at the end, he ends up trying to jump in to stop Valentine, and of course Valentine overpowers him and ends up taking him away for a portal. So yeah, poor Simon in this episode. I say that every week. Poor Simon. Someone needs to give Simon a break because he just doesn't have a very nice time on this show. So obviously Clary is gonna go back and find Valentine so that she can save Simon. She has no choice but to keep herself alive as well. Earlier on in the episode, she was saying that she'd rather die before Valentine got his hands on her because she doesn't want to activate this soul sword. She doesn't want to be responsible for the death of Downworlders. So although she doesn't want to hand herself over to Valentine alive, she's not going to harm herself because she knows Valentine would not hesitate to get rid of Simon if she did something stupid. So these poor characters are in such an awkward situation. So elsewhere in this episode, we have Izzy's storyline continuing. She is still struggling with her addiction to this vampire venom. She no longer has need for Yin-Fen anymore because she is getting the venom directly from Raphael, who we find out in this episode is still biting her. This storyline, I'm really not enjoying it. I like that we're getting to see this darker side of Izzy. We're exploring her character more, but it's the relationship between her and Raphael that's just... Last week I said the one thing I don't want to happen is for that to turn romantic, and it kind of did head that way in this episode. But Magnus does make a point to Raphael that he might not feel this way if he wasn't getting high off Izzy's blood. So maybe it's just that that's making him feel like this. But in this episode he does admit to having feelings for Izzy. Whether it's genuine or just the Shadowhunter blood, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I really hope it's not genuine. If the show wanted to go in a romantic direction between Raphael and Izzy, they should have done more pointing towards that. Maybe foreshadow it sooner than they did, because it's literally just being thrown at us within 2 episodes. I can't imagine people actually ship Izzy and Raphael. Do you? Does anybody out there ship this? If so, then it's good for you, it's great. But yeah, it's not a thing I want to see. I ship both Raphael and Isabelle with happiness right now, seriously. What I did like this week was that we got to see a bit more of who Raphael is. When he and Izzy are cooking dinner, he is making extra food to go to a care home. He's actually visiting his younger sister in this care home. She is 78 now and doesn't remember who Raphael is, but the fact that he still takes the time to make her food and go take it to her, that was really heartbreaking, and I'm glad that we got to see this softer side to his character. So I think that's the positive that I'm taking away from this storyline, is that we're getting to see different sides of these characters. There is a Downworlder meeting that happens in this episode to discuss the options with regards to Clary being the one who can activate the soul sword. Obviously this has the ability to kill all of them, so you know, they have to take it seriously. We have this meeting between Luke, Magnus, Raphael and Meliorn. We got Meliorn back in this episode. I thought he was really great this week. He's definitely a lot darker than he was in season 1. I know he's an evil little shit, but I really like his character, and I think Jade Hassoun plays him fantastically. You could definitely see a switch in his character this season. He is more bitter and severe this time around, and I thought he was very intimidating in that meeting as well. He's closer to this sneaky evil character we know Meliorn to be. So in this Downworlder meeting, Meliorn says that he wants to get rid of Clary. He wants to execute her so that she can't activate the soul sword, and that way they would all be safe. Luke is obviously like, hold up there buddy, ain't happening. But then Meliorn manages to get Raphael on side by bringing up Izzy, because he ends up talking about how the Downworlders seem to be getting too close to the Shadowhunters. He obviously brings up Magnus and Alec, and then he brings up that Raphael's judgment is clouded because of his relationship with Izzy, and this is when Magnus puts all the pieces together in his head and realises what's going on with Izzy. Of course, the first thing he does is tells Alec straight away. It's safe to say that Alec does not handle it well. He goes straight to Raphael. Of course, he walks in whilst Raphael is literally biting Izzy. He goes straight over to him and starts punching the crap out of him. With Alec, we know that he's snarky and moody sometimes. He's very stubborn. But in the show, you don't really get to see that much of a violent side of him. Even when he's doing his badass Shadowhunter fighting, he always just seems less aggressive than the others. We've never really seen this much anger and aggression from him. So when he starts hitting Raphael and doesn't stop, I think that shows just how much Alec doesn't want his family getting hurt. He will do anything to protect Izzy. And also, he's got a lot of built up emotions at the moment because of everything that's been going on lately. Earlier on in the episode, we had this scene between Magnus and Alec where they talk about what happened the week before when Alec was standing on that ledge. Even though he keeps trying to convince himself that it was the magic that was doing it, you can see that Magnus is genuinely worried about him, and that Alec obviously has these sorts of feelings that are building up, and it's no good for him. So I think this rage that he unleashed on Raphael was a mixture of all of these things. Magnus walks in, thankfully, and stops Alec from hitting him further. He storms Izzy out of there. Magnus and Raphael have this conversation about the feelings Raphael's just admitted to in front of Alec and Izzy, and that's when Magnus tells him to maybe stop drinking the blood and then see how he feels after that. Alec and Izzy end up arguing outside. I really hated this scene between them, but not in a bad way. Like, I hated it because it was emotional, but I thought it was a really great conflict scene. We've never really seen Alec and Izzy fall out properly this way, so it was interesting to see this sudden change between them. Izzy says that she doesn't want Alec to baby her anymore, that she can take care of herself, even though it's obvious that she can't. She is in such a mess with this vampire venom, but Alec can only help her if she lets him, and she's obviously not willing to do that right now. Alec didn't exactly go about it in the best way, storming in there and pulling them apart. I mean, I can understand why he did that. It was just immediate instinct, but he could have gone about it in a different way. So those two are in such a mess right now. I'm definitely interested to see how this conflict between them plays out. One good thing that did come from this though is Raphael telling Alec that it was aldertree that got Izzy addicted to Yunfen in the first place. So at the end of the episode we have this really awesome scene from Alec where he is laying down the law with aldertree. Finally someone put aldertree in his place. Aldertree has sent the Shadowhunters out to deal with these Downworlder attacks that have been happening across Manhattan, but Jace has called up Alec to say about Clary, so Alec wants to send the Shadowhunters to find her instead. Aldertree doesn't want that to happen, but Alec immediately shuts him down, threatening to tell the Clave about this Yunfen ordeal if Victor doesn't do as Alec says. I was so happy in that moment to finally see aldertree get put down, even just a little bit. That is my aesthetic right there, really. Another person not having a very good time in this episode was Maya. Like I said before at the start of the episode, she attacks Clary in her werewolf form. When Clary, Jace and Simon take her to see Luke at Jade Wolf, she admits that she was trying to kill Clary because of Clary being the only one who can activate the soul sword. It's got the Downworlders pretty shaken. Maya is convinced that killing Clary will solve the problem. She's not afraid of getting rid of one Shadowhunter for the greater good. I mean, I guess I can see her point of view because she doesn't really know Clary that well at this point. And we know Maya is a nice person. We've seen how lovely she is in the other episodes. But she is also a Downworlder that will take no shit. You can tell that she won't be looked down upon for being a Downworlder. She's willing to do whatever it takes to protect the Downworld. If that means getting rid of Clary, then so be it. Obviously, Luke is not having any of this. Clary is literally a daughter to him, so he ends up locking Maya in, I think it's like a storage type room. She reminds him that she's claustrophobic and that she doesn't want to be locked in there, but he locks her in there anyway because It's Clary and he needs to keep her safe, even though he doesn't want to do this to Maya. Maya gets very upset while she's locked in the storage room. She ends up transforming into a wolf to break out of there. I feel sorry for Maya in this situation, but I also feel really sorry for Luke as well, because he's torn between his two worlds, really. He knows that Clary is the person that holds the ability to get rid of all of the people he protects. You know, he's the leader of a pack. She also has the ability to get rid of him by activating this sword, but he loves her and he's not going to let any harm come to her. So it was quite hard to see his struggle in this episode. It's also going to put a lot of tension on his relationship with Maya, because I think she kind of looks up to him as a father figure as well, and you can tell that he really cares about her. So I hope it hasn't damaged their relationship too much, because I was looking forward to seeing more of their bond. It's interesting to see what will happen. So yeah, there did seem to be a lot going on in this episode. I don't often talk about the technical side of the show, but I really do like the way that this episode was shot and edited. Like I said earlier, I thought the scenes in Valentine's creepy little fairground warehouse were really great. I liked the atmosphere that they added to the episode. We also had a lot of magic being shown in this episode, and obviously Maya's transformation, stuff like that. I think the show has really improved this season when it comes to the supernaturally effects side of things. Next week is the winter finale, so it'll be the last episode we get for a while. The promo, as always, looks very intense. Because Valentine has taken Simon, I'm wondering if we're going to get something similar to what we had at the end of City of Ashes, where Simon and Maya were captive on Valentine's ship. I'm holding out hope for the daylighter thing, so that we can have Simon walking around in the sunlight in the second half of the season. But I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going to happen next week, so it's quite exciting because I can't predict. So please do let me know what you thought about this episode. Also, if you have any theories for what's going to happen next week, then do share them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!